Okay, welcome. Today we're going to be looking at Interzoid's AI Interactive Data Client, which will enable us to perform data requests on any data that we want, any subject, and have results returned in structured form with any set of data fields that we desire. In today's example, we're going to look at flight information, which might be useful for all kinds of different reasons, and experiment with some different types of data that we can get back, and then show how this could be used to generate an API call if you want to integrate it into something. So the first thing you need to do is get an API key, since behind the scenes this runs an API, and that's how we track usage. It's essentially a license key that you can get at interzoid.com, which has some free trial credits. Now, in order to get the flight data that we want, the first thing we need to do here in the topic box is provide a natural language description of the type of data that we're looking for, which will then be used by the AI agents and the knowledge bases and algorithms to figure out exactly what type of data we're looking for and to go and get it for us. This can be pretty simple. We'll just say current airplane flight information, because that's what we're looking for. Capitalization really doesn't matter, but I thought I'd go ahead and edit it. And that's pretty basic, pretty much it. Now the next thing we need to do after describing our data topic is we're going to have to describe our output fields. That's the data that we want back, again in structured data form. So when we enter our lookup value, which will be a flight number, these will be the fields that we get back, and this will be anything that we want. So let's start something simple like flight date, and then we can add another field. Better know what the airline is in case we don't know for sure. We can also add a note. You can move these up and down or delete them, as you create the structured data output. Let's also look at the plane type. Sometimes that's of interest when people are looking at different flight or comparing different routes to a destination. The plane type is sometimes of interest. For this flight or any flight that we're going to look up, probably want to know the departure time, or actually the departure city first. Departure time. Arrival city, scroll down, arrival time, and these can be, again, airport, any type of information that we want. We can experiment. Whatever information that we define will be available to us when we make the call. And now we need to enter our lookup value, and then we're going to run this. But the first thing we need to do is choose our model. This is the model that we're going to use, the AI model. We have several different ones available that will then take the information that we're looking for and structure it in the way that we want it back. Now you'll notice some of these have premium. These are the ones that do include web search, various types of web searching that we employ to bring back the information. And what that essentially means is that it will take a little bit longer when we do one of these premium models, and it does take more credits. And so one of the things that you can do under this menu, there's some options like get an API key, explore the underlying API, step-by-step guide, and then the custom data enrichment agent AI model details. Notice there's a batch mode here. It might not be as relevant for flights, but it could be for other types of data. And so we simply can get some more information about each of those models. Let's use Model O Premium, Model A Premium. Let's go ahead and try the Model O Premium in this case. And then all we need is a lookup value. We'll just use a flight such as DL679 and see what happens. And then all I need to do is click run, and we'll get the data back as we've described it for the lookup value that we've entered based on the topic. I'll click run, and now it's going out and retrieving the data from the web and analyzing it using various AI models. Okay, here are our results. Now, one interesting thing is I meant to type flight date, but I accidentally typed flight data. And that's actually interesting because it brought back some information that I wasn't expecting: duration, usually daily, the different terminals, and so forth. So again, another option to go ahead and play around with these text results that are here. And of course I can save these if I want. So let's take a look at this little pretty view here. That way you can see in a little bit more readable way than just a text dump some of the data points here, especially useful when you get multi-line descriptions that you might be looking at here, just a little bit easier to read. So we'll close that now. The next thing I want to point out that we've got our flight data that we were looking for, and here is the generated API call that was used behind the scenes. And you can see the endpoint here is get custom. That's the name of our data enrichment API at api.interzoid.com. And some of the parameters here, you can see license. This would be your API key, the one that's hidden up here that you registered for and got at interzoid.com. The topic parameter in this API call is the same one we entered above here in this free text. Natural language box. The lookup in this case is DL679, so that would be different with every single flight that we would check, of course. So this would be a variable likely in your API call. The model parameter, and then for the output results, we simply just need an array here that tells our engines behind the scenes exactly what we're looking for. And that's pretty much it. You can then integrate this into a dashboard or anything that you want to compare multiple flights. You can run even in batch mode if you have a CSV file. Again, another thing that you can get here in batch mode, you can run an entire CSV file, for example, that will call this API behind the scenes for every single flight if you want a larger data set of data. But I would encourage you to just experiment with the different models, experiment with the topic description, and then the various output fields that you would want as part of your response. And again, create a custom data retrieval object that of course can become a self-defined API based on the results of refining and doing some experimentation. If you want to learn more, you can go to www.interzoid.com. Of course, this tool is at data.interzoid.com. And the batch tool is at enrich.interzoid.com. And if you have any questions or would like to discuss, contact us at support@interzoid.com. Thank you.